Imagine living in a world where your favorite sweet treat was once a lethal poison. This might sound like a plotline from a dystopian novel, but it's actually a chilling reality from our own history. Many of the commodities we now enjoy and take for granted were once considered dangerous, even deadly substances. Let's take sugar, for instance. Today, sugar is a staple in our kitchens, sprinkled on our morning cereal, mixed into our coffee, and baked into our favorite desserts. But when it first arrived in Europe in the Middle Ages, it was anything but a sweet delight. Sugar was a luxury, an expensive import from far-off lands. Its rarity and high cost made it an item of prestige, a status symbol for the elite. But this sweet substance was not yet the benign ingredient we know today. In those early days, sugar was seen as a powerful and potentially dangerous drug. It was used medicinally, prescribed by physicians for ailments ranging from coughs to constipation. But like all drugs, it had side effects, and these were often lethal. It's hard to imagine now, but consumption of sugar could lead to a host of health issues. It was believed to cause humoral imbalances, leading to conditions like fever, dryness, and even madness. In fact, at one point, sugar was so feared that it was even used as a poison. In the late 16th century, a woman named Julia Tofana allegedly killed over 600 men by selling cosmetics laced with sugar and arsenic. Talk about a bitter end. Over time, as trade expanded and sugar became more accessible, its lethal reputation faded. It morphed from a dangerous drug into a beloved ingredient, a transformation as sweet as the substance itself. But the dark history of sugar is a sobering reminder of how our understanding and use of commodities can change dramatically over time. It's a testament to how something seemingly innocent can have a deadly past. So next time you're enjoying a sweet treat, remember its deadly past. We often celebrate the great achievements of mankind, but have you ever wondered about the unseen consequences of these advancements? Take a moment to reflect on the Industrial Revolution, a period often hailed as a time of great technological advancement. We marvel at the rise of factories, the birth of mass production, and the dawn of modern industry. Yet behind this shimmering facade of progress, there lurked a darker reality. The Industrial Revolution, while a period of great innovation, also resulted in widespread pollution. As factories sprang up across the landscape, belching smoke and spewing waste into the environment, the quality of air and water deteriorated rapidly. The skies darkened with soot, rivers ran black with industrial waste, and the once green fields were smothered under a blanket of grime and pollution. And it wasn't just the environment that paid the price for this progress. The rapid urbanization and the allure of jobs drew thousands to the cities. But these jobs were often in poor working conditions. Men, women, and tragically even children toiled for long hours in unsafe factories. They were exposed to hazardous substances, worked with dangerous machinery, and faced the constant threat of accidents. Even today, we see similar patterns in our relentless pursuit of progress. With the advent of digital technology, we're living in an era of unprecedented connectivity and convenience. But at the same time, we're grappling with issues like digital addiction, privacy concerns, and the spread of misinformation. So, as we forge ahead into the future, let's not forget to pause and consider the hidden costs of our progress. Are we willing to compromise our environment, our health, our privacy in the name of advancement? Is there a way to balance the scales, to enjoy the benefits of progress without paying such a heavy price? These are questions worth pondering as we continue to shape the course of our history. After all, as the adage goes, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Progress often comes at a cost that isn't immediately apparent. Power often comes with a dark side, and history is littered with leaders who have committed unspeakable atrocities. Let's take a journey back in time and unravel the hidden evils of the powerful. Our first stop is the era of Genghis Khan, the notorious Mongol leader. His name has become synonymous with the word conqueror, but his reign was marked by a brutal display of power. He orchestrated the massacre of entire cities, and his invasions resulted in the death of an estimated 40 million people. That's equivalent to wiping out the current population of Canada. His thirst for power changed the course of history and left a legacy of violence and devastation. Fast forward a few centuries to the time of Adolf Hitler, a name that still sends chills down our spine. Hitler's reign of terror during the mid-20th century led to one of the most gruesome periods in human history, the Holocaust. Under his directive, 6 million Jews were systematically exterminated in concentration camps. This dark chapter of history serves as a chilling reminder of the extent to which human cruelty can reach when fueled by hate and power. But it's not just these infamous figures. History is full of such powerful individuals who let their ambitions cloud their humanity, causing immense suffering and loss. From Pol Pot's genocidal regime in Cambodia to Idi Amin's brutal dictatorship in Uganda, the list is long and disheartening. Power, as they say, corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. These historical leaders with their heinous acts stand as stark reminders of this fact. Their actions have left indelible scars on the face of humanity, scars that remind us of the potential for evil that lies within unchecked power. As we delve deeper into the annals of history, we realize that the narrative often forgets the victims, focusing instead on the victors and their exploits. The powerful write history, but often it's a history soaked in the blood of the innocent. Even those in power are not immune to the allure of evil. While we often remember the victors, the victims of history are often forgotten. Picture this: vast ships sailing across the Atlantic, carrying with them thousands of individuals ripped from their homes and families. This is the Atlantic slave trade, a dark chapter in our history where millions of Africans were forcibly taken to the New World. They were viewed not as people, but as commodities, their lives reduced to their value in labor. The sheer scale of this human tragedy is staggering, yet the individual stories of suffering are often overlooked. Then, let's journey across to the Americas, where another group of forgotten victims reside. The indigenous peoples who called these lands home long before the arrival of European colonizers. They welcomed the newcomers with open arms, sharing their knowledge and resources. But what did they receive in return? Forced displacement, disease, and violence. Their cultures, languages, and histories were nearly wiped out, their voices silenced in the annals of history. These forgotten victims of history are not just numbers or footnotes. They were people with dreams, hopes, and families, just like us. Their stories are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. They remind us that history is not just about the powerful and victorious, but also about the oppressed and marginalized. Remember the victims of the Atlantic slave trade who endured the unimaginable in the belly of those ships. Remember the indigenous peoples of the Americas who faced the brutal onslaught of colonization, yet held on to their rich cultures and traditions. Remember them because their stories are a part of our shared human story. In the end, it's essential to remember that history is not a single narrative, but a tapestry woven from countless individual threads. It's a vast, complex, and often painful saga that captures the best and worst of what we, as humans, are capable of. History is often written by the victors, but the stories of the victims should never be forgotten. The past is full of shocking facts, but the present is no different. As we peel back the layers of our contemporary world, we discover that history is still unfolding, often in startling ways. Consider the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East. What began as political unrest has escalated into a full-blown humanitarian crisis. The Syrian civil war, for instance, has seen more than 500,000 casualties since it began in 2011. Millions more have been displaced, their homes and lives shattered by the violence. And yet, amidst the turmoil, there are stories of resilience and hope, of people striving to rebuild and create a better future. Then there's the global impact of climate change. Rising temperatures, melting ice caps, and extreme weather events are not just abstract concepts from a science textbook. They are realities we face today. The consequences of our actions are evident in the wildfires that ravage Australia, the droughts that parch California, and the rising sea levels that threaten low-lying nations. Yet, even as we grapple with these challenges, we also witness the power of collective action. From the Paris Agreement to local conservation efforts, we are seeing a global movement to combat climate change. We are realizing that every action, no matter how small, can contribute to a larger change. But let's not forget the shocking truths closer to home. The opioid crisis in the United States, for example, has claimed nearly 500,000 lives in the past 2 decades. It's a stark reminder of the devastating impact of addiction and the urgent need for better healthcare policies. History is a constant reminder of our past mistakes, but it's up to us to learn from them and create a better future. As we confront these shocking truths of today, let's not be paralyzed by the enormity of the challenges. Instead, let's harness the lessons of the past to shape a more compassionate, sustainable, and just world for the generations to come.